All right, so we're going to begin. Welcome, everyone. Nice to see everyone here. Today we have Natasha, Marin, and Demetrius is going to do the honors of introducing her. But I wanted to say that we have one more lecture this quarter. In 2 weeks, week 8, we have Ann Ward, who's a composer, sound artist, and an independent researcher, which I think is relevant to all of us because of our theory and practice ways of thinking about making work. So.
Okay. Oh, I sound nice. Okay. All right. Sometimes we come across people who live in a way where art and everyday life is one and the same. It comes as naturally to them as waking up, brushing their teeth, and stepping outside. The person I'm introducing today is no different. Her written work has been translated into many languages, as well as being showcased in many exhibitions. She's participated in a countless number of projects, from graduate-level graffiti in 2008 to midnight tea in Mumbai in 2012. And more recently, her book, Black Imagination, that came out in 2018, is without a doubt that she is extremely talented. And so, drum roll, it is a pleasure to introduce someone acknowledged by the Art Forum, New York Times, Washington Post, and the LA Times, Natasha, Marin. Oh, thank you.
Hi, how are we today? This is as good as you're going to be. Because the very first thing I'm going to do is literally ask you to leave everything in your seats and then join me on the stage. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here it begins. It begins. When you get onto the stage, you can earn your way back into your seat very easily, but we have to pull off something all together first. We are going to make an unbroken chain of hums. Can you hum? Yes, you're going to need to breathe occasionally, and that's okay, you breathe. You hum until you say, I am here, and then once you've said, I am here, you can sit down. But before you do that, I want to take a moment, and I'm trying to have us hear me while I talk into the mic, but also look at us. Right now, we are standing on ground that is not ours. This ground has been taken care of. This land has been lovingly cared for generations by people who may not be represented here today. And it's our duty to remember that. So let's just take a moment and really acknowledge the fact that for us to be here, folks had to be violently displaced from the very place where we're standing. Okay. I hate the flippancy of land acknowledgements, but I feel like standing together might make you think about it a little bit. Okay, so does anyone not remember the instructions to how do I get back to my seat thing works? Awesome. Thank you. By the way, when you're the person that asks the question so that everyone else can hear the answer, you just did the team a solid. Okay, so let's recap. We're going to begin humming. We're going to try to not stop humming as an organism until every single person has said, I am here. When you say I am here, that is your passport back to your seat. If you say I am here at the same time as someone else, that's okay. You could both. Yes, okay? So let us begin humming.
I am here.
Okay. Okay. So why did I do that? Sometimes people don't realize what we can do together until we do it. I feel like I'm going to pass out because I like hummed so hard. Humming is work. Doing things together is work. How terrifying was it to be on stage when you didn't plan on it? Anyone? You weren't scared at all? No? Okay, good. Come back. Seriously, come back. Come back. Whoever wasn't scared, come back. And if you were scared, that's okay. Because like what you're learning in yourself right now is sort of where your comfort and discomfort is located. When you're not comfortable, you are not in a position of privilege compared to those people who are comfortable. And right now, those of us who are comfortable are going to celebrate by dancing.
I may not be right for you,
We're
but
gonna
I'm right
dance
for
together.
somebody. Yeah.
Where is my sound?
I looking good,
I
I
probably turned it
feeling
down.
good, I real good, I real good.
Hold on, I have to start it over. It's one of those songs you just got to hear from the very beginning. Okay. I'm playing this because my people, the Trinidadian people of the world, it is carnival time right now, and everybody who has like my DNA all over the planet is partying right now. And that's what I should be doing. So let's dance.
I looking good, I feeling good, I real good, I real good. I looking good, I feeling good, I real good, I real good. Personally, don't take it too personally. They used to laugh at me personally. Oh, look at me, look at me, look at me. Them couldn't see my struggle. Them couldn't feel my pain. Them wasn't there when my heart did fight with my brain at night again. Because I come from a housing scheme with a big dream, and a meal was always a million miles away. I couldn't have one every day. And every time that I feel into quit and just give it up, I used to go on my knees and beg and start to pray. Now it's safe to say, me nah go make them kill me. I when I dance in the face like that, I'm whining my waist like that. See me nah go make them kill me. I dance in the face like that, I'm whining my waist like that. Oh, it's a blessing, and it's a blessing, it's a blessing, it's a blessing, yes, it's the best thing. I may not be right for you, but I'm right for somebody. It's a blessing, it's a blessing, it's a blessing, yes, it's the best thing. I may not be right for you, but I'm right for somebody. I'm looking good, I'm feeling good, I'm real good, I'm real good. I'm looking good, I'm feeling good, I'm real good, I'm real good. You need to know that I get it when I want, when I want it badly. I mean, I go front, me had no social life, had no time for nobody. See shoes on my foot, man, I slave for that. The clothes on my back, me went brave for that. To better myself, man, I gave to that. Yeah. Because I come from a housing scheme with a big dream, and a meal was always a million miles away. I couldn't have one every day. And every time that I feel into quit and just give it up, I used to go on my knees and beg and start to pray. Now it's safe to say, me nah go make them kill me. I when I dance in the face like that, I'm whining my waist like that. See me nah go make them kill me. I dance in the face like that, I'm whining my waist like that. Oh, it's a blessing, and it's a blessing, it's a blessing, it's a blessing, yes, it's the best thing. I may not be right for you, but I'm right for somebody. It's a blessing, It's a blessing, it's a blessing, yes, it's the best thing. I may not be right for you, but I'm right for somebody. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm looking good, I'm feeling good, I'm real, real good, I'm real, real good. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, so maybe you've picked up on the fact that when I do stuff, I expect people to participate. The reason why I do stuff with people as opposed to like for them or to them is because this is how we learn, folks. We learn. Like maybe you didn't know that it's perfectly okay to dance the dance of your people at the beginning of your lecture because you'd never seen anyone do that. My people love to dance. I feel so much closer to you because I danced with you. I feel closer to you because we hummed together. I feel like maybe we could give an F for each other. Maybe, you know, if we were locked in this building and we had to save each other, the people who danced together would probably be like, I could probably save you. We've danced together. We go way back to 3 minutes ago. Okay, whew. Still breathing, still breathing. I am a smoker. I don't recommend it. So why am I here? Why am I talking to you all? What should I put on in the background? I'm going to put on Trinidad Carnival 2020. I'm just going to put up a picture of my glorious people. Just being glorious. Yeah, look at that. Just glory. Like, I come from people who, oh my God, it's a video. Okay. Well, that could be really distracting. These are carnival archetypes, by the way. So carnival started in Trinidad, where I'm from. I was born in, anyone, can you guess, just the decade? 80s. Oh my God, y'all are so sweet. It's the melanin. I was born in 79. I am 40 whole years old. I am a grown person. And you all seem super duper young, and I feel hella old right now. But thank you for dancing with my old self. Anyway, so carnival has a kind of neat history. A lot of folks, thank you. This was for me, right? Oh my God, just like anticipating your needs. Thank you. A lot of folks think carnival started in Brazil because they have kind of like the nakedest, famousest carnival, right, that you hear about. Carnival started in Trinidad, like the limbo and the steel drum and calypso. And it started as a way to troll white people. Did you know that? It's kind of cool. So the locals were trolling the colonizers by dressing up like them and imitating them. To which, much like the Boondocks episode, the colonizers were like, this is great. So when you see people like, you know, festooned in feathers and dancing and shaking their glorious asses, they are resisting oppression. And that has been the history of carnival from jump get. And I don't even think people realize that. And Trinidad has a really interesting history, which I think definitely plays into my work. Of course, you can ask Elder Google all about it if you would like to, but I can give you like the nutshell haiku version. So lots of places have been ravaged by colonial imposition, right? Trinidad and Tobago was sort of gang raped colonially. So we're talking the French, the British, the Spanish, and the Dutch. And this is a small twin island nation. Probably the indigenous population, sort of pre-Columbian, was between like 3,000 and 5,000. And the people of the Caribbean islands are the Taino. You may have heard of the Arawak, the Carib. And the way those folks were not erased, the way we were not erased, was by understanding that homogeneity is a myth. Like, you get along to get along. You you survive, and that's how you survive. So we're still very much here. We're still very much dancing. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the work that comes from sort of a post-colonial Trinidadian lens. I'm also Canadian, and I'm also American, just to confuse things a little bit more. Okay. One thing I want to do with you all is I want you to listen. So I want you to listen to a story for a moment. I'm going to have to guess which one's which.
Let me okay. I believe that God is the healer and he's supposed to give us peace of mind. Okay. But to give you...
I have been asking people questions, and I have been listening to the answers. I've been doing this for about 3 years now, and obviously longer than that, because we do that without being intentional about it, but I've been very intentional about it for 3 years. This is the answer to the question, how do you heal yourself, from a woman in Kampala, Uganda, within the last 2 or 3 months.
An honest, practical view of what I usually do. Most times when I'm sad, sometimes I cry, but then, crying makes me puffy and I look ugly, then I get more depressed, so I chill out. So sometimes I listen to all this music by like Phil Collins, music from, Backstreet Boys, those really sad, deep love songs, country music. Then sometimes when I'm sad, what can really cheer me up is a compliment from someone I love. Preferably someone of the opposite sex. Like, don't take it in a wrong way. Like, if I was really down and maybe my dad had pissed me off and my boyfriend told me, I really like this hairstyle on you. Daddy one side. I'll be healed. I'll feel better. Physically, most times when I'm sad, I used to be sad about my weight because I was always chubby. Then my mom told me, you know what, you can represent fat people and stand out there. You have to be very stylish. So that healed me, like her pep talks and what. But anyway, those other things I've told you only last a while. Like you can listen to music, your boyfriend can compliment you, your mom can buy you a gift. They don't really totally heal you. It's like a drug. You bill it for some time, after some time it wears off. But God actually brings healing, He heals your heart. Like you go and cry to him and you're like, take this away from me. Don't let what this person told me. Maybe someone tells you you can't, you're a failure, you're a waste. Mm-hmm. Someone keeps bringing up your history. Like, God, take this away from me. Let me not feel it. Because the Bible says in Psalms 34 that he's close to those who are crushed in spirit. So you just imagine he's saying, like, take away this pain. And like visualize him. I don't know, most of us think God is that man we see in pictures, that guy with beard, the cute Jewish guy. Over you're visualizing him in front of you, and you're like, take this away from me. Yeah. And just pour out to him, and you can actually physically feel him hugging you. Okay, may I imagine all those things? My imagination is really wild to that point. And then I feel better after some time. But these other things, ice cream, dates, movies, they heal you for 30 minutes. The word comes back. The mind is funny. The bad stuff easily keeps popping back. It's easy to remember. If someone told you you're a failure, a teacher, my math teacher told me, you're so bad at math, it will pop up, always. If someone tells you you're beautiful, your dad tells you you're beautiful, it won't always pop up. So the bad stuff is easy to remember, but how does it go away? You ask God to heal your heart. That's what I genuinely think.
Is there something that you ought to have done to heal yourself that you have never done before? And what is that thing?
Something I ought to have done to heal myself that I've never done before. I think not trusting people. Not getting so comfortable with people. I feel like if from the very start I don't rush to people quickly or rush to embrace them and sit back, observe, what's this person like? Sometimes when you meet someone and you give them like 2 weeks or a month, you have more rational judgment of the person than you meet them today. Next thing you know, you're calling yourselves BFFs, you're making videos about each other, and then before you know it, she has said this, she has done that, he has walked out on you, and then investigate, sit back, listen to your spirit. What do you like about this person that's drawing you to them? If you're drawing to someone simply because they're always happy, look at it. Minus their happiness, what else do they have that's going to benefit you? Okay, it's not like being selfish, but we need to guard our hearts. Sabeb actually talks about it. Guard your heart. You can't just keep throwing your heart out at anyone. And I've not done it, but I think if I actually started sitting back and hearing, in my spirit what God is saying, or even if I didn't believe in God, but sitting back and taking things slow sometimes is important. I know I'm supposed to be aggressive and grab opportunities, but we get hurt over and over again. Have you seen people who have let the same situation hurt them? Like someone being in a bad relationship after a bad relationship. They break up with this guy, some other guy asks them out. The next day they're like, oh, this guy is amazing, he cheats on her still. It's not because you're not beautiful, but you don't sit back to observe, why am I getting close to that person? So that's what I think.
As a Muganda, were you taught any traditional ways of healing? Or is there any kind of healing traditional that you know?
Spiritually or physically also? Physical healing, like medicine related.
Yeah.
Okay, in my culture, there are many things, of course. Now, for example, for those who had maybe diseases like malaria, diabetes, and what, there are different herbs that they talk about that can help. For example, there's a herb called bombucha, yeah? And they told me that one helps to regulate sugar levels, yeah? And then there are different leaves they give you for headache. Then there's another funny weird method where they put certain herbs on you and then they roll you in a blanket, and you sweat your life out. And then you get up and your fever is gone, your muscle aches are gone, those kind of things. That's for the physical part. Spiritually?
Spiritually.
Okay, spiritually.
Okay, so listening, crowdsourcing, working together. This is where we are. I am going to be out of breath this whole time. That's what's going to happen. I just feel like it's going to be a really panty lecture. So I've given you all a piece of paper that looks like this. If you were listening, which is great, which means you can learn, the ability to listen is in direct proportion to your ability to learn and receive information. Then you were listening to this woman that you've never met talk about how she heals herself. Maybe you were stopped in your listening at times when parts of her personality were not aligning with parts of your personality. I think the first time I listened to this, she starts by talking about God, like literally the very first words out of her mouth are about God, and I felt like a door closing inside of me. This is no judgment to anybody else and where you stand and what your beliefs are. I'm just speaking from my personal experience the first time I heard this. You have to pay attention to when those doors are closing inside of you, because that's less information that you could take in. Unless you feel threatened personally by somebody else's beliefs, and there may be good reason for that, you should be able to leave that door open for the breezeway of information to come through. And you can also be really aware of when you feel yourself closing off. I know another time I felt myself closing off is she was talking about her boyfriend, and I thought to myself, well, that's so heteronormative. What about if you don't have a boyfriend? What about those people? How do they heal? So I felt my doors closing there. But you have to be really kind of conscientious about when you feel that happening inside of you, because you're just limiting your own ability to receive information. So for those of us who were wide open, we were listening to this person halfway around the world tell us how they heal themselves. Now I would like you to tell me how you heal yourself. I will play something that's not hopefully too distracting in the background, so it's not just dead silence. But take at least 5 minutes and do this for me. I'm going to collect these. So if you put your email address on the bottom, I will reach out to you in person and thank you for helping me crowdsource healing strategies, which is what we're doing right now. These can be literal recipes. They can be strategies that you employ in your life, practices, stories that you tell yourself, things that you remind yourself. But I would love to know how you heal yourself. If there was no possible way for you to get healing outside of your own resources, how would you go about it? How would you fix what's ailing you? Thank you. I'm going to put on something else. This is just a source of joy for people who have a sense of humor. I was once asking a friend, I was just, farting around on Facebook like you do. And in a conversation, I feel like I said something like, gosh, there should be a nonprofit for people who constantly need to center themselves in the middle of racism discussions. And a friend said, oh, the Center for Centering White Women. So I made it. I just made this page, and it pretends to be a foundation that needs to center white women. So all the posts are, oh God, where are they? I'm showing you this just because you need to know that I'm not always a serious person. Because I know you think I'm really serious so far. Yeah, so, the Center for Centering White Women is here for racisms against Heidi Klum, because someone needs to defend Heidi Klum. It's here for inserting yourself into every possible conversation during Black History Month. It's here so that you can quote Martin Luther King Jr. to Black people during Black History Month. Yeah, so the purpose of this is joy. The purpose is not for you to get all up in the hurt of the butt hurt. If you feel yourself being offended, think about that. I want to give you plenty of opportunities to reflect on what's going on inside of you that has to do with you, and not the rest of us. So this is for folks with a sense of humor. If you are on Facebook and you're in one of those conversations and someone is just centering the hell out of themselves, you can refer them to the Center for Centering White Women. A lot of things that I do involve social media. In 2016, I was smoking a cigarette on my balcony, watching my feed kind of go by on Facebook. My feed had the vibe of, oh, I don't know what to do. Oh, things are so bad. Believe it or not, 2016, we thought things were really bad. Okay? We thought it was as bad as it could get. And boy, were we wrong. So I launched a Facebook event page called Reparations. And for all I know, maybe you can still get to it. Let's see. Reparations. I don't know. I don't think you could get to the original event. Oh, wait, what is that? No, you can't, because it's from 2016. But you can get to the Reparations Requests and Offerings group, which was the space after the event ended at the end of 2016. What I did is I invited folks to leverage their privilege, and to do it by doing as opposed to by thinking. So just like today we came in and I didn't really invite you to think, I invited you to do with me. That's what I invited folks to do for this project. So if you identified as white, I invited you to make an offering to someone of color, something that you could handle. Maybe you have a spare cell phone. Maybe there's a gift card that somebody gave you that you never used. Maybe you just went all Marie Kondo and you have 3 things in your wardrobe and a bunch of perfectly good clothes to give away. Maybe you have an extra $20. Maybe you can not have coffee today. These sorts of things were the kind of offerings people were making. If you identified as a person of color, you would make a request. And I really could have just shown you a video about this. I realize that now, so I will. Oops. It's just been really depressing to see so many people who identify as white feel powerless to do anything to change the racial conflicts that are going on in our country and all around the world. Some people hear the word privilege and they think about luxury. Privilege is intersectional. Yes, it can be a privilege to have a lot of money, but it can also be a privilege to be able-bodied. It can be a privilege to have gone to school. It can be a privilege to be able to get a small business loan. It can be a privilege to be pulled over for expired tags and live to see the next day. There are many ways to think about privilege. I wish every time I had something to say, there was like a video to illustrate it. And just be like, because I feel like we're getting less and less verbal these days. And I just wish I could completely communicate in like memes and GIFs. Just like that would be so glorious. Just no communication other than just visual stuff. But yeah, the folks at Now This did a great job of summarizing that project for you, derp. So that was 2016. Here's what happens when you accidentally make a project that involves 250,000 people within 3 days. Your life changes instantaneously. How does that even happen? I don't know. I will tell you this. I do exactly what I'm doing with you all. I'm the same person all the time. So just the way I'm likely to like give you all my phone number and email so that we can stay in touch or make connections maybe 10 years from now. I do that all the time. So I have a lit network. My network is all over the place. And when I asked folks to participate, I already had in mind sort of the user experience. I knew that the average American is not trying to do too much. We're really into convenience. It's one of the things we pay for the most these days. So we don't want to be uncomfortable. We want to do things that are easy. We want to feel good about ourselves. We even want to brag about how liberal we are and how we helped a brown person the other day. So I wanted to use all the good and bad things about us to actually make a change for people in their lives. And I invited folks of color to make requests, and I observed a lot of data. This was a social experiment. It was supposed to go on for 6 months. It went on a lot longer than that. And as you can see, because today, we're all the way in 2020, this is the group. We're looking at it right now. There's people right now who are participating in making requests and offerings in this group. And if you want to participate, you absolutely can. The woman who now runs this project for me is in Rome. She's a single black mom, picked up her kids, moved to Rome, is living her best black life. Learning Italian, getting healthcare, all those fancy things. She has the kind of life now where she has the bandwidth where she can continue this for me. I could not continue with reparations forever because I opened myself like a portal to all the need in the universe, and that was kind of scary. Before breakfast every day for at least 6 months straight, I would get called a nigger. People would be like, I got your reparations in a rope in my backyard. They would threaten to rape my children. They doxed me. I was on white supremacist gun blogger sites, all because I was trying to connect people across networks, leveraging privilege. So it doesn't take a lot these days. I apologize to anyone who is super traumatized by my use of the N-word, but I no longer have that privilege, so I'm actually trying to teach you something by making you uncomfortable right now. That even that is a privilege. I can't afford to feel any way in any direction about that word anymore because, like I said, like every single day. every single day I also received the most heartrending personal testimonies to the income inequality that is real, that is very present day in our lives. And messages might start like, my partner committed suicide 3 days ago. We have 4 kids and I'm about to be evicted. So with messages like that coming at me, I hardly slept. My kids were hella neglected. There was a lot of takeout, and even that was hard to justify because takeout could change a single mom's week. Like, if you could send her $40 so she doesn't have to cook, that could really change somebody's day. That could change somebody's week. That could change somebody's outlook on humanity. So I was barely sleeping. My arms had like knots in the muscles from just like interneting so hard, which I know sounds like a real like not problem, but I would get like phantom buzzing in my arms. And when I went to get body work done, they're like, you really have to stop this. You're going to do like permanent damage to your muscles. So I had to think about sustainability, the long haul. How do you do the work that you're trying to do generationally? How do you survive to keep doing it? And it turns out I needed reparations. So that's where Black imagination comes in. So Demetrius was nice enough to mention my book. It looks like this. I think it's very pretty. McSweeney's is known for putting out like sexy books, if you understand what I'm talking about, because books can be sexy too. They can even like smell good and have like really nice paper texture. McSweeney's is that way. I was living my Black ass life, minding my own business, not trying to write a book, and posting all my provocative nonsense all over Facebook like I do all the time. And they came to me and they said, we want to publish a book. What do you want your book to be on? And I said, Black imagination, because the way I was healing myself post-reparations was just focusing on Black folks. And I know that doesn't sound very revolutionary, but I'm here to tell you that for me, it was. I've been Black my whole life. It didn't just start like last week. And yet I had never carved out that kind of space for myself to really focus and center myself as I am represented in literature and media and music. As part of this, I collaborated with other people. Surprise, surprise. I got together 3 Black women who were already doing too much, Imani Sims, Rachel Ferguson, and Amber Flame, and we collected responses to the prompts, what is your origin story? How do you heal yourself? And imagine or describe a world where you're loved, safe, and valued, from young Black folks, LGBTQIA Black folks, incarcerated Black folks, neurodivergent Black folks with disabilities, unsheltered Black folks, the folks that people think like it's too hard to represent that demographic. We sought out the folks that are on the most peripheral edges, the least centered and most vulnerable people, and we treated them like the resources that they are on things like healing. And the answers were part of 3 exhibitions, and now this book. Incidentally, if you want this book, you should ask your college to get this book, because I, for one, know that my publisher will hook your college up. So if you leave this lecture and you're like, we should really have this text, just email somebody. You know, it only takes like 3 or 4 emails to start anything. Just know that as an organizer. So if suddenly you want to have more recycling bins, just get like 5 of your friends to email the right person about the recycling bins. It will be fixed. You want a text? Organize. Get the text that you want. Okay? These exhibitions were conceptual. You'd show up at a gallery expecting to look at things on a wall, and I would blindfold you. That was really fun because folks with glasses were like, what do you mean? I can't see if I take off my glasses. Really? Because you're going to put this blindfold on. And then, you know, in Seattle where this exhibition was taking, people are even more like puff up themselves and get offended at every little thing. The docent for that exhibition, Ayanna Hobson, is legally blind. So that was extra fun to be like, while you're complaining to our legally blind docent about how you can't see, maybe you could, just step out of yourself, because the white imagination is what we're in right now. Okay? To get to the black imagination, you have to cut all of this off. So literally the only way to get there was to blindfold people. So it's pitch dark. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face to begin with, and you were blindfolded. And then you were led through like an exhibition by Ayanna, who is legally blind, but who is also an amazing nationally recorded vocalist. So she would sing you through the exhibition, and you would follow her voice, and you would move through all these answers. And there were real people in the gallery sort of testifying as well as recordings. So there might be somebody following you with a speaker that's like really high definition, so you think that person's with you the whole time. There might actually be somebody also with you, like just breathing, So it was a very visceral experience for people, like kind of like a haunted house, but not like a haunted house, because the only thing that would be there to scare you would be your own imagination, your own projected fears on blackness and black people. So I like folks to do things. I like people to experience things and do things and not so much try things. That's my aesthetic. I'm not here for your ideas. I'm here for your execution. Everyone can have an idea. It's not special to have ideas. It's special to execute those ideas. It's even more special when you execute those ideas with other people, when you co-create something with other people. One of the most inspired, I have like 1 minute till questions. I'm going to go over. I'm black. I'm going to do this. One of the most inspired I've ever been is I saw a video. It had to be at least 15 years ago now on YouTube. It's of these two dudes. I want to say they're in like Ireland or Scotland or something. They are shepherds, and they wrapped up their herds of sheep with LED lights, and then they had their dogs herd them into different formations. So you have to imagine these sheep covered in programmable lights, recreating like giant recreations of like the Mona Lisa. So like the sheep had no damn clue that they are like recreating the Mona Lisa on the side of some highland in Scotland. Like, they don't know. They just know there's a dog barking at their ankles and they need to go over there. But for me, I thought to myself, like, wow, this might be like the most inspired I've ever been watching YouTube, because it's amazing what people will do. It's amazing what we will come up with. It's amazing what we will invest our energy and our time and our money in, and what a testimony to like luxury and opulence of time, that you can live the life where you are programming lights on your sheep to like imitate a Pong game, with your sheep. Like, that's so wild to me. But I want you to think about what heals you when we part ways, hopefully temporarily. Hopefully I'll get to connect with all of you further on. But I also want to think about what we can do today. So one thing really, really quick, I want to, how do I make this big? Okay, if you are in crisis, or you know someone who is in crisis right now, I would like to connect you with some resources. So take a moment, and if it's you or if it's somebody you know, get that information to me. If you can help someone in crisis, please text me. So this is my actual phone number. If you hate me and you decide to give it to like all the gun bloggers again, like, okay, I'll have to change my number. So I'm definitely trusting. I do have kids. I have to answer my phone. So please, let's keep this among us today, if that's okay. But I would like to help someone today who needs the help. And I would like to do that not just because I can, but because I really want to show you that this is what happens when you can organize. If you're willing to spend a little time connecting with folks, and I know that is so not Pacific Northwest of us, but like if you are, you can actually make a difference. There's definitely someone in this room who needs help, and there's definitely people in this room who can help. So I will, if I have a text message by the end of our connectivity, I will happily connect someone with $100 today. I would like even more money to go to people who need that help. So if you reach out to me, I may reach back to you with some information of someone you could connect with. While you're doing this, on the back of your healing testimony to me, which I do want to collect, if you could list your intersectional identities. What I mean by this is, I guess demonstrating is easier. So I was assigned female at birth. I am a cis woman. I am queer. I am technically disabled, but I have able body privilege. I am able-bodied, and yet I have an unseen disability. I am probably neurodivergent, although undiagnosed. I am a mother. I am Black. I am an immigrant. I have multiple citizenships. I am educated. I speak the English language. I am documented. So there's a lot of ways to describe our identities and our intersectionality. I hope I have done a decent job. My body is the size that we have been told bodies should be. That's a privilege. So I think about that a lot. I don't buy new clothes mostly because I don't have to. There's lots of leftover clothes for people my size. I'm healthy. That's an intersection for sure. I am not in chronic pain. I'm not a veteran. So if you could write those on the back of your healing, what I would like to do is in real life, I would like to make a little manual from you all, for you all, about healing. And these can be anonymous, so the only person that will know that that's what you wrote will be me, okay? Because I will digitize this. I will type them up if I can read them. And I will put them someplace where you can all access how you all heal with your corresponding intersectional identities. Okay? That's a big offering, in case you don't realize. I would like to do work for you, on behalf of you, and your healing, just by organizing and collecting the information that you generated today. And that will exist well beyond our time here at Evergreen. And hopefully you can encourage the folks in your life who you care about to think about how they heal themselves, because we have to take our healing into our hands more and more these days, and we need to think about how we heal collectively as a community. And sometimes that involves just doing things as opposed to talking about them. So I am supposed to make time for you to ask me questions, but I feel like I barely even told you like what I do or how I do it. So do you have questions, or do you want me to ramble on for like 10 more minutes about what the heck I do? Thoughts, votes, questions? Questions, raise your hand. Okay, so it looks like I'm gonna have to ramble a little bit more. Okay, so how did I get to be a fuck-free, happy artist in a Black femme body? How the hell? How does this happen? How does this work? People are looking at me like, I cannot believe you said the F word. I can't believe it. I do that because I'm human, and you all know the F word, okay? And I think they've done studies that say that people that cuss are like more intelligent than people that don't. So, just saying. I went to school. I did that. I got hella student loans. I hope you're not messing up in that way right now. And if you are, try to get out of it. Try to like marry well or something. I don't know. Do something. But I think it's a racket. It's a racket that I can get an art history degree for the same price as an engineering degree. It's a racket. Okay? Because I went to school for liberal arts. So I have 2 degrees in English literature, and I know how to think critically. And that only cost like $200,000. It was a bargain. They're gonna have to like dig me up and shake it out of my dead body because I don't make that kind of money. But after graduate school, I felt like I wasn't connecting my work with people. I felt like in school, it's a lot of the same people sharing the same ideas with each other in a very self-congratulatory, circle-jerky kind of way. And it just didn't seem Christian. I'm kidding. It didn't seem to fit my vibe. So I did a project called Graduate Level Graffiti, where I invited a bunch of folks who were not in graduate school to be experts together on whatever they were experts on. I brought 42 folks from all over the place together, got a couple grants to do it, and I could not stop working with people. People are like my medium. I love working with people. Like a painter, paint is the medium, you know? Sculptor, maybe metal. Well, for me, people is the thing. People is my thing. From there, I started the Red Lineage Project, which is a global interactive poem. My red lineage is, my name is Vulnerable Red. My mother's name is Staunch Red. My father's name is Red Eye Red. And I come from a people known for flagrance and survival. Folks all over the world have participated in this exercise. It's like a Mad Lib poem style. So it's like, my name is blank red, my mother's name is blank red. And obviously, if it was your foster mom, your grandma, your sister, your big brother who raised you, you shout out the people who brought you up. So that's just my red lineage, but it's completely customizable. Folks as young as like 4 years old have done it orally. And our elders have also participated. People have participated in different languages. My daughter's red lineage, my daughter's given name is Roman. Her red lineage is, my name is Empire Red. My mother's name is Luminous Red. My father's name is Ambidextrous Red. I call him Mammoth Red to his face and Juvenile Red behind his back. I come from a people known for being in charge who don't like being told what to do. Remember me. And she wrote that when she was 5, and then she translated it into Mandarin and performed it on the Seattle channel. She's one of those kids. Yeah, we all know them. Some of us don't like them. Some of us went to school with them, but one of those people came out of my lady hole, so I have to love her. And I do. So Red Lineage gave way to Midnight Teas. I started traveling all over the world, hosting underground secular art rituals with complete strangers. You would come to tea. It starts at midnight. I was usually in a costume. And you would be given a role, a specific role in an assignment. So very much like today, you would show up somewhere thinking maybe you get to observe, but instead you're asked to participate. And what would happen is we would co-create this art ritual together. It was very powerful and beautiful to sort of witness yourself and each other. And groups would be of iterations of 12. So by the time I went to India, which is where this photograph is from, I was doing a 12-hour-long midnight tea with 12 sets of 12 local folks, so that's 144 local Indian creatives. and the 12 artists that I brought. I did a Kickstarter to fundraise for this, and I had never been to India before, so that was helping the folks get passports, get visas. I took my 2 kids. I am still in touch with the people who I did this ritual with for 12 hours, because when you hang out with somebody for 12 hours doing an underground art ritual, you're just friends after that. That's what happens. That particular ritual was divided into sort of elemental cycles. So we went through fire, water, air, earth. Fire, water, air, earth. Is that right? That's 4. Can I count to 4 still? Okay, thank God. During the earth cycle, we crossed the city of Mumbai on foot and in horse-drawn carriages. And we went to another gallery. So 2 major galleries in India participated in that ritual. Midnight tea was amazing. My last midnight tea took place in Berlin. I don't even know how to explain this to you, but I wrote a poem once based on a film. And the poem that I wrote, maybe in 2010, came to life at the midnight tea in Berlin. So I don't even know how to explain this to you except to say there was a moment where a man I'd never met had taken a train from Frankfurt to Berlin to sing an aria based on this poem. And at the moment that the aria hit its crescendo, the image that I was inspired by originally, which was a woman eating roses like they were potato chips. A woman I don't know, whose name is Bianca, which is like a parallel name to the original character I was inspired by, blows roses out of her mouth. So there's this moment of like the aria hits its crescendo, the roses are blown out of her mouth, and I was like, I don't need to do this anymore. I've done it all. Like, I've done this project, and it's not going to get better than this. This is the best it can get. Okay, rambling. That's a lot of rambling. I'm going to try to like wrap all the ramble up into one moment. I am currently focused on Black people. If you would like to think of yourself as anti-racist, if you would like to think of yourself as someone who is concerned with social justice, please understand this very simple thing. You can fight for the liberation of Black people, and you are fighting for the liberation of everyone. And I'm going to explain this to you. Black people are the original people, okay? So all of us are people. I think we would agree. We're all people. The original versions of people were Black. Black people were not Black when they were original people. They were just people. Nobody needed them to be anything in particular at that point in time. So Black people, believe it or not, because I know Hollywood has messed with your mind and has gotten you this idea that the only way indigeneity shows up is in a sort of Plains Indian phenotype. But the people who were kidnapped and displaced from their land in Africa were indigenous to Africa. I know it's a shocker. I know. A lot of people are like, what are you even talking about? And then I lay things on them like, there's no such race as Latinx. And they're like, I can't. So we're just going to start slow, okay? Because Black people are the people, okay, who've now been codified as other for so long that you don't even interrogate it in your brain. The original people are Black. All Black people can have whatever intersections you have while being Black. So yes, there are Black trans people. There are Black disabled people. There are Black Two-Spirit people. There are Black Indigenous people. There are Black and white people. There are Black and Asian people. There are Black and Middle Eastern people. All those people are Black. So if you're fighting for the liberation of Black people, you are fighting for the liberation of all people. And I know some people want to like sort of divide and conquer in your brain and do the oppression Olympics, But I promise you, any intersectional stress you have encountered, there is a Black person out there who has also encountered that. So it is just like fighting for your own liberation. And I think it's important to think about that. It's Black History Month. Black history is human history. Black people were the original capital. So this is a capitalist system this world is running on. That was our bodies. So everything that was built, everything around you was built on indigenous bodies and the exploitation of indigenous land and resources. Period. Okay? So yes, if you're fighting for indigenous rights, you are absolutely fighting for Black rights. And when you're fighting for Black rights, you are absolutely fighting for indigenous rights. So I just want to get that through. If that's like the only thing that you get out of this, that's like, okay, she said this one thing that seemed important, that's it. The only other thing is that your joy is your resistance. When you get a chance to dance on a stage, dance on it. Don't be one of those people that's like looking at the quote unquote natives dancing. Dance if you need to dance, okay? And don't try to save other people. Before I open it up to questions, which I will do, I'm going to read the intro to Black Imagination. And I hope this is enough to get you all to get the book ordered, but it could have the opposite effect. Either way, 7 steps for the white identified reader. Step 1, relax. You've claimed all the things already except silence, except for all the seats in the world. Feel free to have them. It is, of course, your birthright. 2, breathe. 3, imagine your brain is a puckered little sphincter resting on your shoulders, and you now have less than a pinch of pages to cram something new and precious into it before the cops arrive. In this fantasy, you are Black, so you know the cops shoot first and ask questions never. So hurry up and relax your mental sphincter. But you're white, right? So no matter what, you'll be okay. Step 4, avoid. Do not ask yourself how you got this way. Ask your grandparents. This may require a ritual of some kind. Step 5, if you hold a stone in your cheek for 1,000 years, will there still be a cheek and a separate stone? Step 6, realize. Everything calling itself white is a description of lack. Step 7, reassure yourself. And there's a footnote. The footnote says, that's my nice way of saying I might have to leave you as ignorant as I found you. James, John, Michael, Robert, William, David, Richard, Mary, Patty, Jennifer, Linda, Liz, Barb, Susan, Jessica, Sarah, and those are popular white birth names from 1918 to 2017. So reassure yourself. Your insistence on your own whiteness means that you are indeed accustomed to believing a factless and fictional narrative that positions you as superior and central to all validated narratives. So I know that's a lot, and I kind of danced around and like art bait and switched you today. Like I came at you really Canadian with the like, let's be friends and dance together. And then I kind of like left you with a little like, how are you doing on your anti-racism work, right? What happens when you give up your whiteness? Oh, you get to join the rest of us, the people, you know? Because it's a big lie that racism is only hurting people of color. Isn't it obvious that white people are in pain? It's obvious to me. And how do we heal from that? Circling back. I don't know. I will definitely share your wisdom back with you. So before you leave today, please leave me with, how much you hate me and I should go to hell. Gauge how badly I did today, how much I disappointed you, so that I can be unbothered and Black. anyway. But I would really like you to keep in touch if you'd like to. So my email address, if you'd like to send me a quick hi note, it can be blank and just say hi. That's fine. I'll know what it's from. Is nonwhiteworks@gmail.com. So no spaces. nonwhiteworks@gmail.com. And believe it or not, I don't pay a single bill with art. I am actually an anti-racism consultant. And so I get paid to tell people how racist they are. And that's my job. Thank you. Questions? We got to have at least one. We have 8 minutes. You can clap for me. Thank you. Questions, questions, questions? Yes. Somebody has a question for me.
I have the start of what I think is the question, but I'll ask it. Is healing a form of change, or is it a form of like returning to an original like healed state?
That's dope. I like what you said.
Thank you.
Do you want to just say that again so we can all think about it?
Is healing a form of change, or is it more of a return to like an original healed state?
That is my answer. My answer is your question. Because like I'm not up here because I know something you don't. I'm really not. I'm up here because I may have practiced something more than you have. That's the only reason. So like you could start today just practicing telling the truth and being brave and end up, 10 years later giving a lecture on like how your life fell together in place because, maybe you didn't kill yourself in graduate school like I tried to. Maybe you survived that suicide attempt and then things started getting better. I don't know. We all have our own stories. But like, is healing our original state? I have a friend, his name is Jazz Brown. He would say that yes, your original state is joy and everything else is a lie. And you could spend the rest of your life trying to figure that out. But I love that. Is healed our original state? Is healing change? I absolutely think healing is change. Yeah. Do I think our original state is healed? I think we all have to think about that. That's a great question. Are you like a philosophy person? No?
No.
Others?
I'm a little scared to ask this one, but what do you think of just not having a strong opinion on racial or social justice matters and just kind of going through your life and being okay with everyone?
I think that's a great question. I think it was a brave question because now everybody is definitely thinking that's how you feel. Like, that's what's up right now. We're all like, you definitely feel that way. So it was brave of you. I think it really comes down to comfort, right? So if you're in a position of comfort, that is a position of privilege. I think privilege can get really theoretical for people and they want to like calibrate it and recalibrate it. It's everybody has been in a position of privilege and not been in a position of privilege. If you've ever made yourself uncomfortable for someone else's comfort, you have allowed someone else's privilege to like dominate you, basically. You've accommodated them being privileged. So not caring either way about racial issues, that's definitely comfortable. Like it's more comfortable not to care than it is to care. I don't know about you all, but like caring can be very uncomfortable, right? If you care about your friend who keeps dating the same terribly abusive person, that's uncomfortable for you because you care about them. So you're like suffering as well, So not caring that's how you know you have privilege. Do you know that? Do you remember the South Park song that's like, I'm sorry, Mr. Cripple, but I just can't care right now? Like, that's privilege. It's a privilege to not care. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it matters. If you can't get up these stairs because you're in a wheelchair, like, you're thinking about that. Like, that's a concern to you. And, you know, lots of people, so many people had to kick up a huge fuss so that we can even have, like, ramps and stuff, like rights, and be able to vote. Like, so much work has happened to get us to this place where I can even be standing here talking to you. So that is, to me, the highest privilege you could ever have, is the privilege not to care, you know? Then, you know, like, you definitely could care. You could stand to be uncomfortable, slightly uncomfortable, especially when so many people's lives are on the line. Like, your comfort could, you know, change someone's life. If you see someone pulled over and you are wearing a white body, a perceived as white body, you could pull over and ask for directions to Starbucks and like change the whole dynamic of that whole situation while being completely protected, like Teflon Terminator 3 style, in your white skin. You know? It's not even like, I don't even know how uncomfortable that would be, because you're just interfering. And if any of you have the devil in your ass, as my mom would say, you know, and you just like to like start some shit, you know, it's super easy to be like, oh, hi, officer. Oh, what's happening? I'm trying to find Starbucks. Oh my God, why are there 6 of you and there's only like 1 of him? That's so weird. What's your badge number? Which way is Starbucks? Like, you can weaponize all of that. All of that. Every resource you have can be used for somebody, for something. So I think it's a real danger when we don't care, but I don't think you're alone at all. I think there's more and more of us who can't care, and we can't care for lots of reasons. Sometimes we've cared too much already, and we feel tapped out. And that's how you know you gotta heal. Because caring for each other is how you know we're human. That's a mark of humanity. Other question? Probably last question. Ask me something banal, like that's not smart. Or smart, because I don't want that to be the setup for your question.
How do you heal?
How do I heal? This is how I heal. I listen to people. So when I thought about talking to you for an hour, I thought to myself, my voice does not need to be centered for an hour. I need to find other ways to share other voices. So I wanted to share like Indigenous African voices with you today up here in Rihanna's Black History Month. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to make space. And if we had even more time, I would want to hear more of your stories, which is why I'm going to spend time with your healing testimonies. But for me, healing is about being bravely joyful. It's about giving myself permission to really face the oppression I've internalized and try to dig it out. So what I mean by internalized oppression is there's like a massa that lives inside of me still. And massa needs like white validation. Massa needs academic validation. Massa needs institutional validation. Massa needs me to show up on time, because if I don't, I'm a late N-word. Massa needs me to have a clean house. Massa needs me to be a good mom. Massa needs me to do all the work. I need to do all the work like a perfect. I can't ever make mistakes. I'm holding myself to the highest standards. I have to make my parents proud. All of that is internalized oppression. If you've ever met like any sort of super enfranchised alabastard on the internet, you know that a lot of people give themselves permission to be mediocre every day. I don't. So that's goals for me. Goals for me is like, can I raise a kid that I'm not expecting to be like a Supreme Court justice? You know, that would be new for my bloodline. You know, like, absolutely go out there and be a mechanic, babe. Just do it because you love taking apart cars. That is not something that like exists in my bloodline. I got to be the first person to do that. I got to be the first person to like not put Catholicism on my children. I got to be the first person to allow my kids to decide what gender they are and then let me know. Like, so there's a lot of work I have to do on myself. But I think giving myself permission to make mistakes and to grow and learn and course correct, That's what's been healing me. And so today I had to tell myself, you don't have to be perfect. You can be your Aries, 3 planets in Piscean, all over the place, nonlinear self, and the smart ones are going to get something from it. Yeah. Okay, so I really do want those healing things though. Like I really do. Like I want them. I want them. And also, if you are one of those people who text messaged me because you're in crisis and you don't feel exposed coming up to me right now, I do have that money burning a hole in my hand, and I have not yet checked my text messages. So thank you.